Hi, my name is Ahra, and this is how video games kick-started my personal finance journey, and I literally cannot believe those words came out of my mouth. This was a video that I was actually thinking about doing maybe a year ago, but I scrapped it because I thought it was cringe. And now since I'm playing League of Legends again, I've fully embraced the cringe, so what better time than to record it now? So to put out a quick disclaimer so I don't get sued, I am not a personal finance professional. I work in IT. I've literally worked in IT my entire life. So this is purely for entertainment. Video games can be a really slippery slope and addiction is real. So what might work for me might not work for everyone. And with that being said, let's jump right in. To give a little background of my history with video games, I started out with a Game Boy Color back in my grade school years, but then I graduated to online video games once I had access to reliable internet. Back then, the gaming market wasn't as saturated with as many titles as we know and spite today, but instead, it was just filled with a handful of big prominent games that it seemed like everyone was playing, like RuneScape and your insert title here, Craft. In my grade school years, I got into a game called Club Penguin. And to those who are unfamiliar with the game, you control a penguin avatar and get to explore this little virtual world, hang out with other penguins, and play mini games. I personally mostly played for the mini games because I was socially awkward and I didn't know how to make friends virtually. All of these mini games served a purpose: to earn coins, which is the virtual in-game currency that Club Penguin offered. And having these coins meant you can buy hairstyles, cool clothing, igloo upgrades and furniture, you name it. The caveat is, in order to buy these things, you have to have a Club Penguin membership. The issue was this membership costs real money, like $5.99 a month kind of money. And of course, as a kid, I didn't have any money. So I remembered scrambling up whatever money I got from my birthdays in order to buy a 1-month membership to Club Penguin. So at this point, I had a membership and I was ready to spend all the coins I was hoarding up to buy all of this primo good stuff. So immediately when I logged into Club Penguin with my brand new membership, I bought all the goodies that I wanted to buy, and that was pretty much it. Like, I got that nice dopamine rush, and I'm like, wow, I can finally experience Club Penguin to its fullest potential because I've unlocked all of these things. But I don't know, I kind of just felt the same. And by the next day, I was pretty much just playing mini games all over again, as if I didn't really have a membership. So every day I logged in, I played mini games and I bought more stuff up until the inevitable end of my membership. So the moment I logged back into Club Penguin after my membership expired, I opened up my inventory and I realized that I couldn't wear anything that I bought as a member. Like, my entire inventory was pretty much unavailable. As a weak child, I was devastated. Like, all of the coins I grinded for, all of the real money I spent in this game, I mean, albeit it was only $5.99, but as a child, that was a lot of money. So all of that was pretty much gone. Like, it went straight into the void and I had nothing to show for it. So as a bitter 9-year-old, I decided to drop Club Penguin. The lesson I learned here is to cut your losses and be careful of how you spend real money on virtual games. At this point, I had a taste of what it was like playing online video games, and I was hooked. Like, I remembered spending my tween years scouring the internet to find the next new game that I was going to dedicate my life to. And then I stumbled across a little game called Maplestory. And when I tell you this game had me in a chokehold in middle school, that might be an understatement. Maplestory is a free-to-play 2D side-scrolling MMORPG where you get to play as a cute little avatar, you get to fight monsters, do quests, grow levels, and make friends. Similar to Club Penguin, Maplestory also had an in-game currency called Mesos. However, the difference between the two games is Maplestory allowed trading between players, which Club Penguin did not. And since trading existed, a whole economy existed. And this economy was no joke. Like, I remembered doing extensive research online, going through all kinds of websites just to understand the values of rare drops and certain equipment, just so I can have an idea of what the market was like. And with all of my research, I remembered going through the free markets and snatching up rare goodies whenever I saw them being sold for less than market value. And then I would go out and sell them myself for the actual market value. I literally can, like, what kind of 12-year-old understands the whole concept of supply and demand? Like, I don't think I was normal. Because I spent so much time playing around in the market, I decided that I wanted to set a goal for myself. And that goal ended up being hitting the maximum meso cap, which at the time was 2,147,483,647, aka the maximum integer number you can get in any 32-bit game. I don't exactly remember how long it took for me to reach that goal, but all I know is the moment that I did, I stopped enjoying the game. Like, taking nostalgia aside, the game itself was pretty mediocre. Like, it was super grindy, and the updates that were being made weren't helping. Even though I stopped enjoying the game, I still logged on every day because I was holding on to the hope that, you know, one day maybe Maplestory will be fun again. Up until I was hacked. And that marked the end of my Maplestory. So there were actually a few lessons I've learned from playing Maplestory, like, for instance, study the market, find ways to make more money with the money that you already have, set reachable goals, and also don't set your password to monkey123 because that is an atrocious password. Moving on to the real reason why you clicked on this video. How League of Legends helped me save $5,000. So I started playing League of Legends when I was in like sophomore year of high school around 10 years ago. And I was hooked the moment I started playing. For those who don't know, first of all, congratulations, you lucky piece of shit. League of Legends is a free-to-play MOBA game owned by Riot Games, where you play as a champion in a team of 5 players against another team of 5, essentially playing capture the flag. The difference between League of Legends and the games I mentioned earlier is that League of Legends is not a pay-to-win kind of game. Like, you can get the same amount of fun without spending $1 on the game as someone who has spent thousands of dollars on the game. There's also no economy in the game, so there's no trading between players. Now, how the company actually makes profit from the game is by selling this premium in-game currency called Riot Points, or RP, which can be used to buy new champions or skins, but Riot Points don't actually make you better at the game. Skins are purely cosmetic, and there are other ways of unlocking champions through just playing the game. For my case, after being burned by Club Penguin, I had no desire to spend money on this game. Which, honestly, I feel like I came out on top because really the only way to get better at the game is to play a lot, grind out some games, and get good. So like any sane person, I converted into an absolute degenerate and played this game religiously. This went on from my sophomore year of high school into my junior year of college, which we'll get into in a bit. But I remembered at my peak, I was playing like 10 hours a day for 3 months straight. And I still think fondly of that time because that was a good time. Throughout those years, I was a full-time student. I worked a couple part-time jobs and did a few internships. And whatever downtime I had would be dedicated to playing League of Legends, watching League of Legends streamers, or watching League of Legends tournaments. I also had a decent amount of friends who were into League of Legends at the time, so I was still getting some level of social interaction to fill up my social meter. Since my main form of entertainment was pretty much free and my college tuition was covered through a combination of scholarships and grants, my only expenses were food, rent, and utilities. After a couple months into my first year of college, where I spent most of my time going to classes, working, or playing League of Legends, I decided to check my bank account. And lo and behold, that number was sitting at $500. Now, to some of this might not sound like much, but as someone who couldn't get financial support from their family, I was like, there must be a mistake. Like, there's no way there's $500 in my bank account. I'm literally a broke college student. So I checked my account history and everything looked right. And this was such a surreal feeling for me because I've always thought I had like $17 in my bank account and I was just too scared to check. Also, in hindsight, I probably should have been checking my bank account balance on like a more like regular basis. But at the time I was just scared. I was like mortified of doing that, which was not the right mindset to have. So around this time I had an epiphany and I wanted to double down on how much I was saving by taking a look at where I was spending most of my money. And lo and behold, I found a culprit. Eating out. So when I was working my part-time job in college, I remembered having this thought process of, if I'm working, then I can treat myself out to a little lunch because a lunch costs around an hour's worth of work, and I deserve a treat when I'm working. And this little treat cost me $40 a week on just getting lunch. To put this into perspective, the amount of money that I was spending on just lunch was equivalent to the amount of money I was spending on my entire week's worth of groceries. And after doing a little math, I realized that around a third of my income was going straight to food. And I knew I had to put a stop to it. So I decided to pick up some practical cooking skills, and boy, is it life-changing. I used YouTube as my main tool to learn more about cooking, and during this time, I stumbled across what ended up being one of my most favorite cooking channels ever. Pro Home Cooks. Pro Home Cooks is a channel that is run by a guy named Mike. And what differentiates this channel from all of the other cooking channels on the platform is that Mike teaches practical cooking skills with ingredients and tools that most people already have. And as a college student, I was like, holy moly, this is like the best thing ever. I didn't necessarily watch cooking videos to learn about specific recipes, but instead to pick up more cooking techniques. And as time went on and I picked up more techniques, I felt more comfortable stepping out of my comfort zone and picking up ingredients that I don't typically work with, like produce that is in season, and you know, if they're in season, then they are usually on sale. So I was saving a lot more money in that aspect. And with all the money I saved, that was put towards random tech stocks in the stock market, which again, in hindsight, probably not the smartest decision, but you gotta learn somewhere. Around my junior year in college, I became self-aware of my video game habits. And when I mean video game habits, I mean full-blown addiction, because dopamine is a crazy drug to be on. But with that said, the grass is greener on the other side, you just gotta touch it. Fortunately, at around the same time, I got super busy with school and work, so I just didn't have much free time to begin with. But with the little free time I did have here and there, I decided I wanted to spend that time discovering new hobbies that were either stupid cheap or completely free. So I ended up picking up things like hiking, reading, and going to my school gym. And over the course of my college years, with the help of working and also investing, I managed to save up $5,000 by the time I graduated college. So what it really boiled down to was I stumbled across a free hobby that worked well for me, and in my case, it was League of Legends, that helped me save money without ever realizing it, and it helped jumpstart my personal finance journey. And with that, I'll end the video. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving this video a big thumbs up because it is free and you really have nothing to lose. Also, consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this in the future. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Toodles! For the record, I never even got good at League of Legends. Like, the highest I got was